Social media and mental health or something. I don't know yet, to be honest. Take 13. Yep, I've done this recording 13 times, and well, this is the 13th one. Hopefully, the last one. The last one was supposed to be my last one, rain or shine, no matter how long or how short. But someone decided to barge in and interrupt it, so I'm redoing the whole thing. Yippee! Anyways, point being, my topic is going to be on social media and mental health, which that's not really my topic anymore. Upon adding some details to what I wanted to write about, I've kind of transformed this idea more into social media and the dimensions of health. You know, we remember those, right? Physical health, mental health, intellectual health, not mental, emotional health, financial health, and all that jazz. Right? We all know. I mean, we were here week one, right? Hopefully, probably. Um, and if you're here looking for slides, I regret to inform you I only got two of them things. I got slide 1, which you are currently looking at, and I got slide 2. Now, slide 2 is gonna kind of carry the meat and potatoes of this thing, which might look a little bit disappointing, but you're mostly here so you can hear me ramble about points. So, potential topics or points: online bullying, harassments, echo chambers, dissatisfaction with life, misinformation, scams, and media in general. So, all these different aspects are tied to different dimensions of health, and from emotional, intellectual, financial, environmental, social, and all that. However, just because they are tied to this does not mean they are exclusively tied to this. This was kind of just slapped together to get me thinking about the topic overall. But going into more details with it, it's apparent that this is not just limited to what is shown. And some things might be a little more closely related than one might initially think. For example, online bullying. Needless to say, bullying of any sort is going to have negative impacts on your emotional health, and potentially also your physical health, depending on what form that bullying takes place. And I also want to include that upon thinking about this, harassment is honestly could be used synonymously with online bullying. If you're getting harassed, you're getting bullied. If you're getting bullied, you're probably getting harassed, you know? But regardless, yes, your emotional health is impacted and your physical health can take a hit. For example, honestly, maybe it's just like, maybe it's the classic, it's too much of it, and you get tired of stuff, right? Bullying, harassment, it can push you to do things that you otherwise wouldn't, and those things can take a toll on your physical health. Some of it a lot more serious than others, but still. Echo chambers. Now, these are a personal thing I absolutely despise because they are really, really horrible for critical thinking and intellectual health overall. Now, an echo chamber in regards to social media is essentially, maybe you're going around looking for a place where you can just kind of talk about a certain topic or something. And what echo chambers are is you are found with not just like-minded individuals, but individuals who kind of share the same opinions and push those same opinions, which, you know, that sounds pretty cool on paper. But the reason this is horrible for your intellectual health is that it discourages critical thinking, and sometimes, depending on your predisposition, you might just not really exercise any critical thought. You know, I mean, if they're saying it, it must be true. Why bother thinking about it myself? Or sometimes you go into an echo chamber not really having any strong opinions, and then because everyone has the same thing that they are pushing, it tends to push you towards it. For example, there are a number of young men, teens, young adults, age range, can be from anywhere to anywhere, who don't really feel like they have a spot to belong. And a lot of them tend to be falling under these, like, I forget the term, but guys like Andrew Tate, who promote this basic, like, toxic masculinity view of life. And just when you have a bunch of those people that kind of don't have anywhere to go, but they latch onto this thing, this personality, and everyone kind of starts echoing those same sentiments, you get guys that were pretty harmless, not, really, they were just looking for somewhere to be. And the place they found is now constantly telling them to be Andrew Tate, which, if you don't know who Andrew Tate is, he's, I'm pretty sure he got in trouble for human trafficking. So, honestly, I feel I can just leave it at that. But, yeah, echo chambers can be pretty bad for your intellectual health and your social health, and potentially your environmental health, really, if you think about it. So, dissatisfaction with life, this is mostly in regards to individuals who use social media to post things, and maybe you live a relatively mundane life, nothing wrong with that. Honestly, most people do. But then you start scrolling, you start comparing yourself, or maybe you don't start comparing yourself, but you just start looking at these YouTubers or celebrities, influencers who are living their best life. Like, every picture you take is a solid 10 out of 10. You wish you had that type of experience going on. But they have a very curated, very fake life that they are showing you. Not all of them. Some of them honestly are living their best life, and you know what? Good for them. I might not be living my best life, but I'm fine with that. I got something that's alright. But if I keep looking at that and I keep comparing myself to that, I might eventually start thinking that, gosh, my life sucks. What have I done? Why can't I be like that? Am I ever gonna be like that? And needless to say, that's pretty bad for your emotional health. So that's what that point was. Misinformation is just the general lies, scams, all this sort of stuff that's being put out there that just exists. And if you let yourself get taken by it, that's pretty bad for your intellectual health, and it can impact your physical health. I mean, COVID was not that long ago, and I don't know if any of y'all remember that there was a certain idea going around of, I want to say, and I don't have all the details off the top of my head, but I believe people were taking some sort of horse medication to prevent COVID or to deal with it, or just crazy ideas like that. And there were a couple of them. That was just one example. But people were doing this and getting really messed up because of it. Like, you fed into this little pocket of misinformation, and now your body is paying the price for it. That's a pretty clear example of how misinformation can impact your not only intellectual but physical, and it can impact almost any, depending on the type of misinformation that you're being fed. And this is why I think intellectual health is one of the biggest cornerstones of the dimensions of health, because you can see through all this garbage and you can work on things that need to be worked on. Scams are kind of a form of misinformation, but I don't really need to explain those too much. We all know the stereotype. Nigerian prince is like, hey, I got like $1 million. If you send me like 500, I think I can part with like at least 10K for you, buddy. But all I need is that $1,000, please. Don't do it. Come on. And then media in general. Most of us, I'd wager to say all of us, partake in social media in one way or another. Right now, we are taking online classes. It may not seem like it, But Zoom is social media, right? And it's, it's in our phones, computers, the internet, all that jazz. We're pretty exposed to it everywhere we go. And so in that sense, it's a pretty big part of our environment. And depending on how we use this social media and what we do on there, what we expose ourselves to it, it can be very, very damaging or very beneficial to us. And sometimes it's not as easy as, put the phone down, go touch some grass. Although that is a very common solution and does work most of the time, not all the time. And sometimes you just can't escape it. For example, like I just said, we're doing this class, we need to use it. We can't just stop using it, because if we do, we're not going to show up. But yeah, so it's a very key component to most of our environmental health. And it's not necessarily good or bad, it really depends on what you're getting up to and what you're being exposed to. And then social health, it is social media. A big component of it is the socializing stuff. It could be good, could be really bad. Your socializing could take you to meet new people, to start new, great, better things in your life, and that's wonderful. Or you could find yourself falling into an echo chamber that's, boo minorities, they are ruining the country, ooh, right? Like, it could be anything from one extreme to the other extreme. Could be good, could be bad. Depends on how you navigate it. So I think that kind of gets across what I'm trying to go for. I'm coming up on 12 minutes, just past 12 minutes. I'm done. I'm out.